We are live. Yay.
Yay.
Welcome to Living in the Light. I'm not going to lie, Katie and I have been having some ad hoc 10-minute chat beforehand, wafting round essential oils, and we nearly forgot to go live. We're having way too much fun.
Yes.
Welcome to episode 2 with our gorgeous Katie Phillips. I am going to read out just some of who you are in the world. So Katie is a women's empowerment coach. She's an author. She's a love and dating mentor. Hallelujah and amen. And she is the founder of the School of Self-Love and a mum and a fur baby mum. And, a partner and, all of the hats that we wear as women. And she just happens to be one of the most shiniest, most beautiful souls that I know. So welcome.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I just picked up a couple of crystals to hold while you were speaking then. I was like, they're calling me.
Yeah. So I just want to receive you into the space.
Thank you.
Before we start, and thank you so much for being here today, just to talk really. So for those of you that have not caught these episodes before, this is only my second one. I did about 16 episodes of Thrive Live on my own, and then I really wanted to open it up and play. There was a real energy of play that came forward, like who do you want to play with, and whose wisdom do you want other people to share with people. What incredible women have you met? And Katie and I happened to be at a session that myself and my friend Kelly Quinn were facilitating in London, and you came early and we sat next to one another, and she lit up, and I'm like, I am 100% going to collect her for sure. And you've been in my community and I've been in yours, and it's been the most beautiful, it's been the most beautiful expression of women really supporting one another and going beyond this kind of old, very restrictive paradigm of competition and all of that type of stuff. And it hasn't, you might have seen the live I just did on Instagram. It hasn't always been that easy for me to, share spaces with women as incredibly powerful as you are. You've really helped me with that, Katie. So
right back at you. I caught a little bit of your Insta live before my internet dropped or something. But yeah, it's as you were saying that, it had me realize as well the importance of this sort of collaboration and the way that you and I just kind of come in and out of each other's worlds. And I'm like, can you come teach my community this? And you're like, can you come teach my community that? And it's even more important because I'm in business on my own. And so collaborating with somebody like you, and then there's other women that I'm collaborating with, it has me not feel so alone in my business. And it definitely makes it more fun and playful. And interesting, it
really is. One of the other reasons why also I did this series and why I wanted to talk to you as well is that I see you in your work in that modality, and of course I know a little bit about you, but if I'm honest, this series is quite selfish because I'm like, I don't really know much about her story. Like, how can I find out about that? And also, you, like the other women that I brought on for this series, is that you strike me as a woman who's like honest about things, and as I said in the live earlier, that doesn't pertain to be the finished article, and is honest about the fact that we are always learning, always growing, and it is messy, and often it's not pretty, because I think it's really, really unhelpful when we position ourselves out in the world as being the finished article. It has other people feel like it's something unreachable, when the truth of the matter is our transformation is in the embracing of our humanity. And we were talking about this more and more before you came on, that the real work is in receiving yourself in all ways, right?
Yeah, totally.
because we were talking about perimenopause, all sorts of things, like how do we be in our bodies when we're navigating things like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot, it's like I don't have the gene, or, you know, that bit of DNA is missing now or something. Like I can't not be really real with my community, with my clients. Not to the degree that, like, I would never go on social media and I would never process my stuff publicly. I won't do that because I wouldn't, because that's not self-mastery. Like I will process my stuff with my coach. I process it on my own. When I'm ready, I'll even bring it to my husband. Like I won't just vomit my emotional shit all over him. And I would never bring that publicly either. But when I'm not far out of it, I will always share that, you know, it happened twice last week. I shared with my community and on social media my struggles last week with some anxiety and perimenopausal stuff that came up for me, and raging a war with Facebook ads and how that impacted me. But I will share, like, because you have to keep it real, because it feels really uncomfortable for me to put myself on any kind of pedestal and go, oh, well, I've done the work and now I'm the teacher, and I am a great teacher and I am a great coach. And I genuinely, nearly every single day, feel like such a student. 100%. And I'm always learning. And I shared with you before we came on, like I've been asked to do these 2 presentations this week on other people's platforms, the same presentation. And to prepare myself to do them, I've actually watched me presenting that presentation to another audience, like this time last year. And I was watching it this morning going, oh, yeah, I really need to do that. You know?
Who is this wise woman?
I need that right now because it's all a practice every day, and we have to keep it real.
For sure we do. I think we're all being called actually to be honest in the, like you said, not the in the moment emotional dumping, but being honest about the processes that we move through and the mess that we move through to be able to navigate things. And that has been such a contribution, I think, to my own work, to the women in my community, to the women that I serve, that the more real I am, the more in service to them I really feel like I am. Because for a long time, you position yourself as teacher. And for me, and this is my truth, it might well not be yours because we've all got different, you know, experiences, that I realized that in teacher mode, I was protected. I could keep you over there because I am the teacher. And you were learning from me, and what that was masking was a lot of wounds around relationships with women. Even though, ironically, I've had intimate relationships with women for nearly all of my life, I realized the intimacy really went one way. Like I'm okay giving to you, but I'm not too sure about receiving any support or any love or any nurture or any of that. You know, I'm good. So. You know, it's a real journey, right? It's a real healing journey for us right now, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
At the end, for sure, Katie is going to, I'm going to get you to put some links into the comments at the end, Katie, for, you know, where people can find you and things like that. I'm also going to be putting a link in at the end for Thrive, which is a space that I run. There's an amazing community of women in there that are really like trailblazing the way in what it is to really live your life really based on your soul guidance, which involves tuning the noise of the world out, which is extremely loud at the moment, and finding out what your truth is and creating a life from that. So I will put that up later, but let's get going. So one of the things that I really wanted to, I tell you what, I'm going to let you do a little bit of an introduction to yourself. But in that, one of the things that I wanted you to talk to us about was, what was your real turning point? And we often have more than one real turning point, but normally there's one
I've had so many, Cora. Which one do I choose?
But it's like the one, right? The one that kicked off all the others. That there's normally one humdinger, which sometimes is called the dark night of the soul. So that was one thing that I really wanted you to share with me and us.
Okay, it will be my pleasure.
Yes.
So the humdinger, the dark night of the soul, that was the reason why I do what I do now. So it was, back then I worked in corporate. I worked in events management, actually, specifically around sports events. So it's such a different world to the world I exist in now. It's so funny. But funny how it's coming together with running retreats and so on. It's like I can run a retreat with my eyes closed because of my background. But yes, I used to work in corporate, but when I had my rock bottom moment, I actually wasn't working, which was a contributing factor to this happening, because my work was a huge part of my sense of self-worth, my value, my significance, feeling purposeful in the world. I got all of that from my job. I got it from my career, my income. And I found myself, we're going back 12 years because my son was 2 and I just split up with his dad, and we were 3 months out from being married. And I thought that, we chose very consciously to have a child together, and we thought this was it for our lives. We're going to get married and all the things. And I chose to leave. And it was a pretty unhealthy relationship in the end, very unhealthy relationship in the end for both of us. But we were 2 wounded people coming together, and we related on that wound level.
Yeah.
And I can see that now with all these years of retrospect. And then I did the classic rebound and went straight into, literally 10 days later, I went on a first date with somebody I'd known for a long time, kind of knew he was waiting in the wings. So instant rebound relationship. And it was literally frying pan into fire. And it was super, super, super unhealthy. And I was in that relationship for about 9 months, maybe nearly 12, actually. I can't remember. But as that relationship came to an end, and at this point, so I'd put myself in a position of living in his house with my child, not working. I didn't have any money in the bank. I didn't have my own car. I put myself in a position that I'd never been in my whole life. I was such an independent woman that took care of herself. And at this point in my life, I was totally dependent on this man. And it all came undone. And we broke up. It was like another argument. And we'd broken up, and he'd asked me to move out. And I didn't have anywhere to go. Like I said, I had no money in the bank, no car, no job. I just wasn't prepared for it. And it was a culmination of all sorts of stuff. And I found myself one afternoon drawing the blinds, middle of the day, taking Valium, so unlike me. But taking Valium, I don't even know how I had Valium, but I had Valium, and taking it and sobbing my heart out, suffering the most awful anxiety and panic attack. But by that point, that was very familiar and normal to me. Like I was very regularly, literally had to sit on the floor with anxiety because I couldn't keep my breathing up. But on this day, my son was at nursery, and I just didn't know how to move through my life anymore. And I wasn't quite suicidal, but I really wasn't very far off it. I felt so stuck and so alone. And it occurred to me while I was like bawling my eyes out, snot, or anxiety, panic, it had me realize that I had put myself in exactly the same position that my mum had put herself in the day she committed suicide.
Wow.
So when I was 22, she overdosed on pills, which included Valium, but it was a whole concoction of stuff. And at this point, she wasn't working. She was living in a house with her boyfriend. They'd broken up. She was looking for somewhere else to live. She was starting from scratch again. She was 49. I also know now that she had perimenopausal stuff, anxiety and depression going on as well. But she put herself in a very difficult position, and she took her life from that position.
Yeah.
And I realized that while I'd been living my life all these years trying not to be my mum, I didn't want to end up like mum.
Yeah.
Right. So, and we get what we focus on. So even though we think we're focusing on
it, and then it is that, yeah.
But you create it. But I didn't know that at the time. I can see now the energetics of it and how it all works out. But what I did notice was, this is like, if you put two snapshots side by side, I am my mum in this moment. Thankfully, it wasn't quite as extreme. But I saw, like, I had a choice. I could go down that road and that was taking me where my mum went, or I could go down that road and it would be something completely different, but I didn't even know what that was. And I just had this awareness that somehow I've become a puppet to, I wouldn't have even known the language, puppet to conditioning, programming, and so on. I didn't have that language. I just knew, holy shit, I've become my mum. This is my biggest nightmare, my worst case scenario. I have to learn a different way of doing life. And so it was really my son being in nursery and knowing that I had a deadline, I had to go and pick him up, that made me get out of my bedroom and wash my face and put one foot in front of the other. I genuinely did it for him and not for me, but I did it while at the same time setting an intention of, I have to figure out another way.
Yes.
And I do not, because I cannot go through life feeling anxious anymore. I cannot go down this path anymore. I have to figure a way, and I didn't know where to begin. But what I came to understand was the power of choice and the power of intention, and it was a very emotional choice that day. Like there were moments there where I thought I might just have another cup of Valium and maybe not leave this room, you know, and it was so emotional, so emotionally charged that that decision created a momentum and put me on a track where, and this is what I know to be so true, that life supports you. And I was just guided, like, one thing after, it could have been words in a song, a poem, a meditation, a teacher, a book, a coach. The breadcrumbs. And I just got big chills. Like, one thing after another just showed me how to heal step by step by step. Yeah. And
here you are. We're going to talk about your work.
And somehow I'm here.
Fantastic. So much stuff to resonate with there. You know, I think motherhood was definitely a moment for me. I'm a mum, and the exhaustion was real. And one of the biggest things as well was, I have no idea, but the willingness and the intention to do something different. Just that. And actually the letting go of the control, because actually it was not hard to let go of the control for me, because I actually had no idea. So that like zero idea.
Oh, me too at that point. Yeah.
And we often talk about, you know, like the dark night of the soul, and there's this beautiful Rumi quote that everybody loves, is it the wound is the place where the light enters you. And that is true, but I think to add to that is only true if you allow that to be the case, that these pivotal moments in our lives, these choice points that show us, we will either choose, we will learn from them, and we will use them as almost like a catalyst for transformation, you know, or we don't, you know, I think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, as I'm thinking about it now, I almost feel a nostalgia for the initial months, maybe even the next 12 to 18 months after that moment, because there was such a profound shift in my life where I had nothing except for myself and my son and some kind of willingness. And I was on such a, like, no matter what, I'm changing the trajectory of my life, like no matter what.
Yeah.
And I went, my healing and me became more important than anything else.
100%. Yeah.
And that journey, like while it was so painful, and I did some, oh my goodness, some of the healing work, some of the places I had to go back into my childhood around like the grief, the anger, some of it was so profoundly painful I didn't even think I'd survive it. And yet I look back on it with nostalgia because I think, wow, that's when I really got to know myself. That's when I got to hang out with me in a very raw way, and it was kind of exciting.
I think as well, I think what I know to be true for me and my experience is there's no leaving those aspects of you behind either. You are not going to get away with it. You cannot bypass her if you really want to live a whole life, if you really want to reclaim it. There's a certain thing around going back and reclaiming those aspects of yourself that we leave behind in the trauma or the pain or the shame or the guilt or the, whatever it is, that you won't get away with doing that without doing that work. I think a lot of some of the, early empowerment stuff, definitely law of attraction stuff, fantastic. And there's quite a big degree of bypassing doing this healing work, and you'll get to a certain stage and then you'll be halted and you will have to go back and do that work. I mean, that I know for sure.
Yeah. And I'm still doing it, last week, what came up for me last week was my teenage self came up last week, and schoolgirl stuff and beliefs I took on about myself. And this all came up through an experience with bloody Facebook ads last week.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about the Facebook ads. It was something that life was gifting me to say, hey, maybe you haven't healed that belief about yourself 100%,
yet.
100%. So that was me last week.
and then the Facebook debunker for me, where like some random Vietnamese person took down all of my accounts, and even in the moment of what the hell is that's like 7 years of carefully curating, just heart and soul stuff just gone in an instant. And straight away was this awareness of this, your place in the world does not rely on Facebook. Like really, like that was don't be afraid to tear things down and start again. This is a gift. So even in amongst all of that, I was told to sit still and don't try and pull it all back to you from a place of urgency and all of that type of stuff. There was a real lesson in it. And I just think I'm amused now at whatever life throws at, whether it's a trigger or it's an external happening, because I'm like, for sure, everything is for my greatest evolution. Sometimes you can't reach that space straight away, but you can, if you lean in, if you can embrace the situation, whatever it is, there always is this amazing, incredible opportunity to alchemize it. Alchemize it. And talking about alchemy and divine breadcrumbs and following on, and you have that moment, and then of course other stuff comes in, but like I feel like your energy was the same. It was just like this beginner's mind thing where you're like, okay, I'm listening, I'm tuned in. It doesn't make much sense, but I'm gonna follow that bit, and I'm gonna follow that tingle, and I'm gonna follow that tingle. And what has unfolded for you since, Katie?
Oh well.
I mean, we've only got about 15 minutes. I'm just letting you know. Give us a little bit of a whistle stop.
A complete career shift. Ginormous income shift, going from what I made in a year, able to make that in a month type situation many times.
Amen and hallelujah to that.
I mean, but in a way that feels really aligned, and where I feel like I'm actually profoundly helping people, whereas before I was just doing something that promoted a brand. Like it didn't feel very purposeful. I called in my soulmate. So I went from that rock bottom moment when that relationship ended, I then went into a period of 8 years being single.
Yeah.
And it was a very conscious decision. And probably the first 5 of those years, well, I know for sure it was a conscious decision. It was all about me. And I knew that I was the centerpiece. Like I was the common denominator in all of these drama-fueled relationships that I was in. The addiction, the codependency, the narcissism, all that I could, I used to be really good at banging on about the victim stories and poor me and more men are bastards and life's so hard, until I realized I was a common denominator in every single one of those relationships. And there was something going on in my energies that was available for that was calling that in, that was the vibrational match to it. And so I, very consciously single for 5 years, and then had 3 years of such deep frustration. Where is he? I'm a self-love coach at this point. I'd founded the School of Self-Love. I'd written a book on self-love, and I was professionally deeply humiliated that I couldn't call someone in, and but yeah, it was a continuation of the work. It was a moving into masculine, feminine energy dynamics and how all that plays out, which is very exciting.
Very.
And of course, we teach what we need to learn, don't we? So of course, my biggest pain point was relationships. So of course, that's where profound healing has occurred for me. And then it's very nice to be able to say, I did call in a very empowered man, and I can help others to do that.
Very beautiful man, also called James. We both
also called James. Yes,
we both called in our James. I absolutely.
We did. Yeah.
So perfect. So perfect.
Yeah. So, and I have a beautiful relationship with my son, and I always did, and it's just so conscious, and and I have that. I've created this work-life balance where I can hang out with him. Where you emailed me something yesterday, just a quick thing for today, and I was able to reply to you. Now, I never would usually be on email on a Sunday, but I love my flexibility because I spent a lot of last week. It was half term, so I could just hang out with the kids and with James's kids, and we're at the beach, and I never had that balance before. It's a choice in my life.
I think because conditionally there's not a model for that. There hasn't been there is now emerging, but there's never been a model for that, because our self-worth is just so very strongly connected with productivity. Like we need to be doing to be productive. Then if we're productive, then we're worth it. But we're still trying to gain validation and approval and all of that type of stuff. And, I'm probably doing the least amount of hours I have ever done in my life at times. Still, the tag is you're having a laugh. Like I am probably working the least amount of hours, physical hours, working as the world would see it, and making the most amount of money I have ever made, pinch me amount of money in my life.
Yeah.
But it all depends on what you're seeing as the work, because the work for me is alive, like aliveness. How do I feel alive in my life? Like, what am I present? Am I feeling the ground underneath my feet? Am I enjoying my food? Can I be with my feelings when they swoop in from 1,000 different directions about 50 million times a day? Like that to me is the work.
Yeah.
And because we're in that work, we get to create this brand new paradigm of service that makes the brand new paradigm of service, which also means that we haven't got to sacrifice and we haven't got to struggle because we're in service to other people. We can be in service and it be so generative and be so abundant, would be my experience. And I think it's yours as well, right?
Yeah. No, I'm completely agreeing with everything you're saying. Yeah. I actually just feel really lucky to do the work I do, because I get to very naturally be in the work at the same time as teaching and delivering and supporting the work. I'm in the work. So they literally go, all day long, it's a hand in hand. I'm in the work, doing the work, delivering the work, supporting in the work. It's just that all day, every day. And I
very reciprocal.
It's really reciprocal, but for whatever reason, me, who I am, my life experiences, what my soul chose, this is what I need. I like for now, I need this work to be a part of my own personal growth and evolution. Like, I am very conscious of that. I know that they don't stand separate. And I wonder if one day I'll be called to do something completely different.
Yeah.
I'm really available for that. I mean, even my business has evolved over the last 10 years in what I teach, and it's always evolving as I evolve. And I'm really interested to see what it will become and where I'll go with how I show up purposefully in the world and how I create money. And
as you say, really I really get this energy for play as well. Like, it's like, let me play. Even in the disappearing of my Facebook page, there was like this feeling of like, what a complete nightmare. And then I was like, I can play with this. Like, I get to play. We get to play. I think we get to play more than we realize that we do. But I think there's work to do to begin with, to free up the energy of play that feels to be like a certain amount of work that you need to feel safe in your own body. If you can feel safe in your own body, which is the healing work, then you feel safer to express truth. You feel safer to be light and easier. I think without doing the healing work, the real experience of play is difficult.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And I would say that I definitely don't have enough play in my life. Like, that's still a real calling for me. I've brought in more than I ever have had before. But I still think I take things too seriously.
Yeah, me too.
Actually,
way too substantial is what I call. Look at me being all substantial, and then I'm like, oh my god, seriously. And my biggest joy is when I'm being ridiculous. Like, I just group coaching course, and some of the things I come out with on that, I'm like, wow, this is a good job. This is not really being recorded out there, because that is ridiculous. But so much joy in my just silliness, actually.
Yeah. You know? I could definitely do a bit more of that. I mean, last week I went, well, I do this very regularly. I went yesterday again, but I went wild swimming. So it's kind of my thing. I went to yoga and then went for a wild swim. I just needed to float, and I come out with like all sorts of chunks of I don't know what in my hair and like
crisp packets.
No, it's actually quite clean, but you know, like plant debris basically. And but I was floating in the water, and I'm looking up at the trees and the sky, and I was like, God, Katie, you know, just more. And for me, that was playful in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's a bit naughty. It's a bit daring. It's a bit like you're not really allowed to do it. And I was like, oh, more play, please. I almost was praying. I was praying it. I was intentionally kind of saying, please show me how to have more of this, more play in my life. Because I definitely take a lot too seriously. And I would like to have
I think the world demands right now, is trying to demand and dominate that we take things really seriously. And I think a lot of us don't believe that we can have light and ease and fun and play while humanity is going through probably one of the biggest shift it has ever had. And it's quite defiant right now. I'm loving the energies of defiant and liberation and abstain. You know, all of that, because I'm like, it is a radical thing right now to claim light, ease, fun, abundance, play in the face of what is unfolding. And it makes me even more determined for that to be my experience.
Yeah, totally. Do you know, it really occurred to me when James and I were married, we got engaged on Lombok, and we were on holiday with great friends and family, and we were married 5 days later. So it was all very quick. We suddenly we were all kind of there, and everyone said, just get married, we're all here. So we did, and my friends pulled it all together, and I was in total receiving mode. I didn't even know the venue when I turned up to it. I didn't know, I allowed it to be a complete surprise. They created my wedding. It was so amazing. And I remember when James and I, so the day before, because we had 5 days to prepare, and anyway, we were writing our vows, what we wanted to say. And I actually wrote my vows in a taxi on the way to collect a dress.
Perfect.
Literally the afternoon before we were married, praying that this dress was going to fit me. Anyway, I wrote in my vows that I was now choosing, was going to make me emotional, to evolve and grow through love and joy.
Yes.
and I was saying no more, I'm tearing up now, to evolving and growing through pain, because all I knew was, because we know that life throws us opportunities to evolve and grow all the freaking time, every single day, right? And a lot of them are painful. And certainly my relationship experiences were predominantly very, very deeply painful. And I look back without regret, because I know what I needed to be shown, to learn, and so on. And I was like, but I'm not choosing that anymore. Like, I now choose to be in a relationship where I can evolve and grow through joy and love. And that's what we do. There's no drama. There's no fighting. There's no, like, it's teamwork, and we get our lessons, but we come together and work through it together.
Wow. And
it feels so good.
Isn't that a blueprint for humanity right now, that we humanity has chosen to evolve through a lot of pain, and I believe that we can really evolve and learn our lessons in love and joy, like you just said just now. I really do think that that's available for us individually and us collectively. And I think the only way that it's going to be a collective experience is if we individually take radical responsibility. Because that's what I heard, when you said 5 years, I took radical responsibility of my piece in whatever was unfolding. And I think when we take radical responsibility of our own healing, and we take radical responsibility of our own growth and the way that our life feels to us, and we reclaim those aspects, then it really does become something that becomes a collective experience.
Definitely.
And my last question was, I was going to ask you your biggest bit of wisdom, but you know what? I think you might have just mic dropped. Like,
I like that wisdom. I'm going to stay with that wisdom. That was honestly in that taxi going to get my dress. When I wrote that, oh my goodness, when I got to say that out loud to a man, my whole story was, I don't trust men. I don't trust the masculine. I can never have that kind of love, that Hollywood sort of, love story. I can't have that. To be able to write vows like that, and he would understand them as well. I choose to evolve through love. And that he would get that, and that we would share that. That really showed me how far I'd come. And I continue to want to, I continue to want to drop the drama and have more ease and joy. That's still my daily choice. Best I can. Don't always do great at it, but best I can.
It's like the choice between being right and feeling good. Like, really, it is like, do I want to be right here, or do I want to distill into listening for one another and just coming together, to find some common theme, which is always going to be love, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy, because it's been thousands of years that we've been wired that way, to fight to be right. And really doing the work, the love and joy work.
Really doing the work.
Really doing the work. I could not be more full in my vessel at getting to spend some time with you today and learning all about that, because that I didn't know. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for thanks for asking me. I will always say yes to you, you know that.
I did get it really quickly. I was like, oh, she's still that good, still that school kid stuff that goes on. Oh, she likes me, and I really like her as well.
I know, it's crazy. Isn't it crazy? But it comes up, doesn't it? These are the things. The feminine wound is it goes deep. It goes deep.
It does. But here we are, heart open with one another and sharing. So that's got to be a really, really good sign, right? For sure.
It is a very good sign. It's a very good sign. And for whatever reason, you and I chose to be here at this point in history, and to know each other and to share each other's work. And pretty cool.
Tell people where they can find you, my darling. And you can also put in, some links in the comments after if you want to, hon.
Of course. Well, at the moment, and I've started, I've started to say that because I've become very acutely aware with how quickly I and my business is evolving.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's pretty much theschoolofself.love. So the website, theschoolofself.love. But even at the moment, the website isn't where I'm at. You know, the website can't keep up with my offerings and my own evolution.
I agree.
So do you know what I mean? It's like I almost feel like my website it's 10 years old. I mean, it's not 10 years old. It's up to date, but it's not up to date.
I know.
I think I heard you say on your live earlier something about being a coach, and that word doesn't even work anymore. It doesn't. You know, I'm like, yeah. But the Instagram would be at theschoolofself.love, or my personal Instagram is daring and mighty.
Love that.
And then I've got coming up, actually, we start next week. So on Monday the 14th, I start my Meet Your Soulmate 5-day challenge.
I love that.
Which is literally changing women's lives around the world. Like, literally. Fantastic. It's a 5-day deep dive into you, and it's completely free. So it's all around feminine empowerment. Amazing. The inner work that we've been speaking to here today. So I would love to drop a link for that. Please. If you're single wanting to call on your soulmate,
I know that a few women from Thrive are actually working with you, right? Because I introduced you the other day, and
one of the girls is like so excited for the challenge. She's been waiting for months. Donna. She's been waiting for months for it to start. She's like on the edge of her seat.
She is right on the edge of her seat, and she is really ready. So that's about ready to pop. So this is what I mean. I'm so glad that you're going to be midwifing her into this next piece with you know, in terms of love, and this is what I mean around in real time. There is enough to go around, like there really is. There's you in your community doing your work, there's me and mine, and there I can on heart say there's like no fear around it, that we just are sharing. So I'm super proud of you, really.
Me too, actually. Thank you.
It's delicious. Wow. I mean, we could turn this off and probably go on for about another 55 million hours.
Yes.
The people that are watching, they want to go and have their dinner. So a lunch.
Lunch. Thanks for having me, darling.
Huge love. And I will see you next week. And I'll put the information up for that. But thank you for being here with both of us, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. See you later.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.